Lost Ark is one of the best games out there, period. But it is sadly struggling.
The freedom to choose your own goals to a game that seemingly hates you and is doing everything it can to make the process of reaching the end game as difficult and time-consuming as possible. Why would I engage in
I don't think it's that time-consuming. I think that's a little bullshit. I think Lost Ark compared to like a lot of other Korean MMOs, and just in general, I feel like if you play question mark, no, I feel like if you play like, dude, if you play a couple characters, like let's say you're a new player, what the fuck are you actually doing? Let's say you're like relatively a new player, you got 2 characters or something. You're literally logging on and doing nothing for like 30 minutes and you're off. For you, like he's talking about
Well, yeah, maybe that's now, but previously when Lost Ark was at its peak, it was a grind. It really was a grind. On average, it took me an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on RNG, how fast I would finish up all my dailies, and that was with rested XP on 6 different characters. So, it is a grind. It is a grind. Lost Ark is ironically a game that suffered from its own success. It was so good for people who wanted engaging, hard content and, you know, wanted to feel a little bit of that reward, and then gamble a little bit on top with the maybe you get some kind of legendary book or something. It was great. But the problem with Lost Ark was the daily grind was just too big. But man, Lost Ark was so good. You wanted to play 6 characters, okay? You wanted to play your 6 to 12 characters on 2 different accounts because it just was good. It was so fun. And that was its biggest downfall, in my opinion.
Getting to the end game. For a new player, you're literally logging off. Like, you got nothing to do. You do your dailies, me right now. That's what I'm saying. For us, at the end game, more developed. I think I heard ATK talking about this on Cannon's podcast. Actually, I kind of want to find it right now. Let's see if I can find this. And then tell me I was right.
Lost Ark should not be a roster game. It should be a 1-character game.
True.
So
True, but you wanna play more characters. That's the problem. If you're playing 1 character, yeah, you're in and out and done in 20 minutes every day. Until you're doing the raids with your guild, but you want to play it more because it's such a good game. That's the problem.
People should adjust that to it. The reason why it became a roster game is because the amount of materials you need is so much to a point that you need multiple characters to get gold and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You make additional characters if you want to play new character. If you want to play different.
I don't subscribe to this idea. Okay. I never funneled materials to any of my characters. I never had any problems getting into any current raids as long as I just had the achievement that I have done the raid. Okay, that's the only thing. People didn't care that I don't have maxed out. Man, 2.5 hours, 5k hours in a game, and I still don't remember what the books are called. You know, the passive things. No one cared even if I didn't have all of the passive things there. You know, you just join a fresh group and you're in. I almost never got kicked even in my lowest geared characters possible. It was crazy. And I played every character uniquely. I didn't funnel any materials, any gems, anything. And I still was easily playing 3 characters at the end game. The current raid end game. And the only reason the other characters were not played so much because I didn't put enough time in them. That was it.
Playstyle.
Hey, get down.
Right? So, Jumpstart, then when that happens, like, you know, that's why also, like, Makoko Express comes out, right?
Where is it?
Since I'm limited to 6 anyways, you raise it up. You raise that character up with the Makoko Express. You try a new character, right?
Come on, motherfucker.
And then you do it. But dude, imagine, dude, some people in my chat probably makes way more gold than I do because they grind way more than I do. I heard some people have like 18, 15, 80s. That's crazy as shit. I don't know.
Who the fuck has 18, 15, 80s?
That's unreal.
That's
You should not do that. Like, you should not play the game like that. And then they get,
True.
and then you know what they're gonna do after 1 month? It's like, oh, I'm so burnt out. This game requires
Yeah,
so much
true.
time to hone. And I'm like, dude, you're honing your goddamn ninth character, man. That's why you're like, dude, that's why you're burning out. But
Yes, but on 1 or 2 characters, you're not playing the game enough. Again, literally problems because the game is actually good. Ironic, isn't it?
that's why even, well, technically say I heard him say it too, like, and me as well. I have 1 character for Theomite Heart. Stain has, well, technically 2 characters, but he wanted to make 1 character for Theomite Heart, and it's slowly becoming like that, right? And if it's a 1 character game, you know, that's how it should be.
I told you, motherfuckers, right? The game is slow. You're gonna see. People were asking me yesterday or some shit. How many characters should I hone up? Or should I choose? It's slowly gonna get to a point where the game is just gonna be. It's like you have 1 big juicer, right? And when it becomes 1 big juicer,
And did playing 1 character?
Well, yeah, 1 big juicer should be done. I also, I had 3 that did the end game, but one of those characters was a little bit bigger than the other ones. Not by a lot, because, well, there are people who, you know, you are currently honed to your current raid situation, and then honing after that becomes ridiculously hard and expensive, and there's pretty much literally no need for it except bragging rights, right? There were people who did it for bragging rights, but those are different kind of players.
In this game is actually not that much time.
Yeah, it's very little time.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's very little time. Let's say,
compared to most MMOs, bro, you are not logging on Lost Ark that much. It's why you're not locking in, because it's the battle. My point is, it's fun.
There's a stupid fly because it's getting cold outside, and now flies are taking every chance they can to get inside. It's so annoying. I have a fly in right now.
You want to play all your character. You want to play more, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to play more. That's why I'm saying they need.
Hey, my adventure log was 99% complete. I didn't have 1 Makoko, which I would... No, 2 Makokos, which one of them I would never get because it's the last room in Gesbro, and fuck me if I'm ever doing that place again. It was the last room. I don't want to do that, okay? I missed it and I didn't notice when I was missing it. 99% completion. Just because, you know, you're kind of bored. Okay, let me start the log. And then you would get addicted to the things glowing and looking good. And then you understand, wait a minute, the collection log is the end game, actually. Man, what a ride.
Need to make it so I can play more
2.5k hours, 0 regrets.
on my 1 character. You know what I'm saying? I want to, or like, let me play more on my 1. I don't know how to do it though. That's not fucking hell mode though. I want to play more on my 1 character. I don't know how to do it. They needed to do something because
yeah, hell mode's a little bit special. Even if you want to play a lot, hell mode just kind of seems excessive. You know? It's a lot of training, it's a lot of collaboration, and it's a lot of finding a group of people who actually want to do it. It's a bit much.
want to play more, dude. Like sometimes I don't want to do like I'll like do Procol because I'm bored. I mean, I want to do something else, solo bosses or something. I don't know what it is, man.
If they ever introduce solo bosses into game, which they will probably never do, because balancing solo bosses for certain classes is, man, it's just not happening. Okay, well, they technically could. If it was like, okay, you're playing a damage paladin, which is ass and everyone knows it, right? Well, what if the boss just has, for example, 30k less HP than, for example, a Dead Blades boss? That would kind of work, I think. But, yeah, I'm gonna come back to Lost Ark if they introduce solo bosses. Because the biggest and toughest thing about Lost Ark is the player disparity, right? You have players that are complete casuals. No, literally, they are complete casuals. I mean, when first Argos came out, and when first Voltan came out, and you could... I don't remember how... I think it was Argos. When first Argos came out and you could still do the underwater dungeon, there was a point where you could still do it and get rewards from it, and everyone doing it was eye level like 137 or something like that. Essentially, you're pretty much 2 times above the item level necessary to do it. And I remember there were still people that you still could get into a random group that couldn't down the last boss when your item level is 2 times above what it should be, because people just don't understand the mechanics. There are a bunch of people who play Lost Ark super casually. Then when the only thing they do not get bussed for is the last boss, where you are 3 times under geared and you don't even have to take a potion if it hits you 15 times in a row. There are people like that, and then there are the hardcore players, the ones that are gonna spend 7 hours the first day a boss comes out just so they finish gate 1. And there's very little middle ground, right? There is absolutely very little middle ground. It pretty much just skews in one or the other direction. But the middle ground just doesn't exist. You know, people who want to try the new boss for like 2 hours, and then the next day maybe 2 hours, and then they finish the first gate like on day 3. You know, the hardcores have already finished the boss on the first day. Or second day, they're finishing the last gate, and the casual audience is not even looking in the direction of that thing because there's no one who can bust them yet. That's how the game works. And the middle ground is gonna be when there are solo bosses, things that you can solo.
It's weird. It's a weird thing to balance. My point is that it's the game's slowly going to be coming that, and then you can play a lot less.
Stupid fly.
So anyway, this whole thing started because like a year ago, the advice was to make as many characters as you can, and eventually it's just not sustainable anymore.
True.
Unless you want to sit there at 1490, don't use any gold to hone, and just sell fucking leap stones from fucking Carl. Unless you want to do that, it's not worth it. And honestly, fuck doing that. That sounds
honestly, here's also a small thing that people kind of forget. For example, people are very inefficient in actually making gold in this game. And I'm not talking about bussing. The most inefficient thing that people, for example, are not doing is the life skills and chaos gates. Or what they call chaos gates? You know, the ones that appear. You do the boss and then you get a map. Now you see, the thing is, almost no one fights for that map. But that shit is always worth it. I was playing way more casually. I was doing rested experience. When my characters were full rested, then I did the dungeons like 1 time. And I wasn't tryharding. I was not doing all the dungeons on every character. I had, again, three characters I did dungeons on. You know, the latest trades and whatnot. That's it. That's literally it. Nothing else. But I had way more gold on average than the people who tried hard. And that was the reason that one of the things I did was I always fought for the Chaos map. And this is going to depend from server to server. But essentially, if you can get the Chaos map for 5k, which is, by the way, the highest anyone ever bidded for that thing, you're still going out on a profit on average if you're doing enough of those things. Because the legendary maps are just so good, okay? They usually are a 5k payout on average, and if you get lucky, well, you get a lot more from them. So I always fought for those maps, and I was pretty much always the one who got them, because no one bids above 5k, and if you bid 5.5k on my server, no one was fighting for them. So I always got the map, and if you do them all the time, whenever they are available, you are gonna average a way higher return than 5k. Way higher. And I was smart about the life skills. On average, people were doing life skills, and they were pretty much just doing the maps. Again, the excavation thing. People were doing only that. But in the reality, that was pretty much never the biggest money maker available. Nah. That was not even close to the biggest money maker available. Yeah, probably woodcutting or ore mining was the biggest money maker available. So I did that. I just actually calculated which is the best return for a life skill point, and I just did that. Super easy, super simple, easy peasy, and I got a lot out of it. So on average, I always had more money to spend than other people who were actually tryharding and investing like double or triple the time in the game.
Miserable, and if you want to do that, go do it. That sounds fucking awful. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do that. Or maybe you bust a lot. I don't know, you know? But if you're just doing it to make some gold, I feel like it's just not worth it, bro. But if you're doing it, how many of you guys have realized that it's probably not worth it to maintain this crazy roster?
Stupizdin KDONK.
But you do it because you want to play more.
I quit because of that.
Chat, if you're maintaining this crazy roster, it's probably not worth it, but you do because you want to play more.
Bruh, you know how I left the game? I was doing Vicus with my guild, hard mode, with my second alt, and we vibed because of me on gate 1. I just fucking left. I just left and never logged in. I just left the group, I left the Discord chat, I left the guild, I left everything, and I was done. Because that moment when I died, and you know you have done Vicus for 1,000,000 times, I was like, what's the fucking point? Why? Why even do this? And that's it, that's how I left. Beautiful.
That's kind of what it's like for a lot of people, I feel like. You know? So they should just open the way for people to play more. Thank God. Right? Why don't we just open the way for people to play more rather than doing this whole... Maybe it's just moolah, though. Maybe like, oh, make more characters so we make more money. I don't know. It's probably something. Relic gear is super cheap to get 5x3. It's super worth. No, but my point is, eventually, it's
Stupid
not
fly.
worth it. Like, let me just put this. We did this yesterday, but it's like if you just look at. Okay, we did this yesterday or 2 days ago. So this is people were like talking. We were talking about the League of Villains and how they're free to play because most of their group was 1640. Like, you fucking, or the team that cleared second. We looked at their gear. They were 1640, right? So the entry level is 1630, right? To get to 1640, okay,
Jesus.
from 1630, the raw gold is 1 million. Not the total cost.
That's a lot.
Out of them. The raw honing gold is 1 million on an average scenario, right? Let's just say to get to like 16 fucking, I don't know, 1620 or something. Let's say you're 1600, right? Which is 1500. So let's go to 1610 for,
oh no,
you know, it just gets to a point where the mats are so fucking expensive that it gets crazy after a while, right? It gets so expensive to pay back yourself just in the raw gold that you're like.
And the thing is, when you're especially playing with the guild, man, you're always competing about who does the most damage. And it feels good to compete who does the most damage. So technically, yeah, you kind of want to hone this.
This ain't worth it. Right?
And it's
now,
not
in the early game, sure, but remember, that's the early game. If you're trying to go forward, and then you gotta get these fucking elixirs, because people are gonna gatekeep you based on that, and it's a lot, you know. And so it's probably just better playing a couple.
Never used any consumables except pots. Well, okay, also destruction bombs, or you know, stagger if it was necessary.
Characters, like 2, 3, right? Elixirs are expensive. The quality, all that stuff, it adds up, right? So I would disagree at this point. I don't think it's that grueling to get to the end game. I don't think you have to play a shit ton. I think most of your time
getting to the end game is fast, but it could be easier.
Spent is going to be.
Well, maybe now it's super fast. It already was pretty easy on average.
They get into groups. I feel like that's actually.
How long if you funnel 0 money and without an express? How long did it take me to get a character to? Well, at least the start of the end game, of the current end game. I think it was roughly 4 weeks? Not really hard.
Actually, the struggle for a new player, right? Is it just getting into groups? You're going to spend most of your time doing that than actually playing, which honestly is a terrible gameplay experience, right?
Yep. True. Oh, that's it. But this is a different video. Well, anyway. I guess that's it. That was Stoops. He doesn't have an ending screen. Whatever. It's from his Clips channel. So this was Quizzer Said Zen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.